My name's Angelo, and welcome to We Want Picks. Jacob and I are going to break down our bets for UFC 274. We've got a really good card. I think I've got a couple decent bets in here. But before we jump in, go to wewantpicks.com/bets. Sign up with any one of our now 6 betting partners. Make a deposit, and we send you $50 as a thank you. wewantpicks.com/bets. Sign up, make a deposit. We send you $50. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, however you want it. I don't have a lot going this week. Frankly, full disclosure, I've been traveling for work all week. And honestly, there's a lot of fights that can go one way or the other. A lot of really fun, exciting fights, but mostly hanging out in the prop territory. The only money line I have is on Francisco Trinaldo. I fully recognize that's a close fight, but I've made a lot of money on Francisco Trinaldo as an underdog or as a pick'em, and I'm going to keep riding that train. I think he's busy. His old man strength hangs out. He just stays in the face and gets this done.
And
so
he just a quick interruption. He just weighed in, looked fantastic. So there you go. He's
good to go. All right. Old man hasn't lost a beat. His chin is still there. His cardio's still there. So 1 unit, money line, almost even money. Then I got 3 props, mostly round-based. I have Ariana Carnelozzi at plus 3.5 points. What that means is I am buying a round on the judges' scorecard. That's all I'm doing. So if she wins one single round against Lupita Godinez, then I will get paid. I'll get paid. If she gets stopped, obviously I'll lose. If she wins the fight, I'll win. If she stops Lupi, I'll win. And I think Ariana can win a single round because, frankly, Lupita Godinez needs to be a bully. That's how she wins fights. She pushes people around, drags them to the ground. I don't know if you guys know what Ariana Carnelozzi looks like, but she's jacked. She's got pretty big hips. And, I think she can win a round. Probably the third, frankly. I think she can win that round. So that was minus 160. I would have liked better odds. But, again, I just need her to win a single round. Then I have Carla Esparza, exact same logic, but it's 2 rounds, I believe, is how the math works out. I'm buying 5.5 points, minus 130. I think we all agree this fight goes the distance. And I think we all agree Carla Esparza is going to get some takedowns. Is she going to get enough to win the fight? Probably not. Weili got 5. That didn't win her the fight, but I don't need her to win the fight. I just need her to win a few rounds. Minus 130, I love that. First of all, Carla Esparza very well could win this fight. So I'll go the safer route, minus 130. I just need her to take a couple of rounds, and that bet will hit. And then the main event, I did over 1.5 rounds at minus 200. Listen, Charles Oliveira is tough and mobile. Justin Gagey is really tough. I think this goes over a round and a half. I think it's pretty safe to say we see the end of the second round. The odds are minus 200, so they're not great, but I threw 2 full units on that. 2 tough guys. I think we get a good fight here. I don't think we're going to see a submission snatched up in a minute. I don't think we're going to see a knockout in a minute. Justin Gagey's super tough. I think he'll avoid the grappling as much as possible. Whether he wins or not is irrelevant to this. I think we at least get to the third round here, so 2 units on that. The only place you're going to get that buy a round prop bet is BetOnline. So go to wewantpicks.com/bets. We have 5 partners. BetOnline is one of those partners. That's the only book that offers the buy a round, buy points on the judges' scorecard prop bet. So check them out. Go through our link. I send you $50 after you make a deposit. Jacob, you got 2 slides here.
2 slides. I'm back on. It's a pay-per-view, so I'm back on it. I got absolutely destroyed UFC 273, so this is the next pay-per-view. I've done pretty well in my live betting. And I actually try to incorporate some of those live bets I normally play into these bets. So a lot of times I'll make my slides for this video on Fridays. And then before each fight, I almost like to play the inside the distance, or not in decision of action, but does it go the distance or not, rather than picking sides. So I put a few of those in this slide. So let's start with Justin Gagey. We haven't seen Charles Oliveira weigh in, which is, I don't know if it's a little bit concerned. Usually the champ is one of the first few people to weigh in. They make their weight. They make a show of it. He hasn't weighed in. I like Gagey anyway, so I put 2 units on it at plus 140. Gagey talked about, no one has ever taken me down except for Khabib. So he thinks that the grappling and wrestling of Oliveira is basically a non-factor. He's like, I know what I'm doing. I know how to wrestle. I know how to defend takedowns. Khabib was the only person that could ever take me down. He's not going to take me down. If he doesn't take down Gagey, obviously he's got the power in his hands, but I don't think you want to trade with Justin Gaethje. That's not how you want to win the fight. So I took Gaethje in this. I think he wins a stand-up. I don't think he gets it to the ground. And if he does, I think he's able to get back to his feet. So I got Gaethje at plus 140, 2 units. Joe Lauzon. Yeah. I think he wins. So Joe Lauzon, I placed this earlier in the week just because, I'm not a Cowboy hater. I love Cowboy. Cowboy's a great dude. I think everyone's going to be rooting for Cowboy. And again, nothing against Joe Lauzon, but the guy has lost 10 of his last 14 fights, has lost $1 million in a row, hasn't really shown anything in those fights. So I placed this earlier in the week, and then I hear Cowboy start talking, and Cowboy's saying all the right things. He moved from his ranch to Vegas. He's been in Vegas, the PI system, everything. He said he's been enjoying it. He's rededicated himself. So I put this on because I did make this bet, but honestly, if I had to go back, I probably wouldn't have placed this bet. But we're being transparent with you guys. These are every single bet that we placed.
These are our bets. This is what we did with our money, and we're always going to get everybody in the comments section is a genius that knows everything. No matter what, this is what we did with our money. We're not telling you to do anything with yours, but this is what we did. So you can hate the bets, but this is what we did. Doesn't affect you.
We put ourselves out there. And then we have obviously the lock of the week, Melissa Gatto. I had to go heavy on her. Last time she was against Sajara Eubanks, I think like a total of like 12 units on her. And I think they all hit. I can't remember if the last one hit or not, but I had just a money line bet inside the distance. This is a little bit trickier because she was a plus 180 at one point. I got her at plus 130. She's a plus 112, I think now. So she might end up the favorite by the time the fight starts. I wanted to look at like an inside the distance decisional action because I think if she loses, it's going to be Tracy's just able to control her.
275.
275, right. So I might see if that changes a little bit before the fight and maybe try to grab her, but it's probably going to get even wider, maybe a minus 350 or something. I still might play it because I do like that bet a lot. A lot of people have been asking, do you like that bet? I love that bet from Melissa Gatto. I think she wins straight up. I think she finishes it. I think she could even win a decision, but I think the best and easiest path for her is to get a submission bet. We'll see that in the next slide later. The next three are kind of the live bets that I like to play before a fight. So I kind of stack these up so you can see them on Friday rather than usually I tweet them right before the fight starts, and I usually hit them. So these are all favorites, minus 160, minus 300, minus 125. These are the fights that I feel are definitely not going to go the distance. We have Chaos and Rude Boy Brown. Those guys are bangers, known for knocking people out. I think they do that. Fialho Van Camp. Fialho obviously is a knockout guy. Van Camp has come into this fight saying that he's going to trade punches with Fialho. I think that's a mistake, and if he does, he's probably going to get finished. But if this goes to the ground, Van Camp is a very dangerous guy on the ground to finish as well. So, I mean, everyone thinks this is going to be inside the distance. That's why it's minus 300. I put 3 units on it to get back a unit. And then we have Cladeson and Cj Vergera. Same type of situation. This one isn't quite as wide, but I think this as well does not see the distance. So 1.5 units on this, minus 125. The next one is Tony Ferguson. So it's a little bit of a fly. I actually almost wanted to play a money line bet on Tony Ferguson, but I feel like this is a much better value. Even though Tony is like a plus 400 or whatever he is now, it seems like the only path to victory for him, obviously he might be able to TKO Chandler. Chandler is, chinny at times, but he's so tough even when he gets knocked down and knocked out. And Ferguson doesn't really have that straight KO power that like an Oliveira or somebody has. And Gagey couldn't put him away. So I think his path to victory, if he's going to win, is there's a weird scramble. Somebody's in trouble. They're both tired, late. And then the Darce comes, right? I mean, that's what he's known for. Even in the press conference, he was like sitting there, like he was sitting like in the Darce position, like at the press conference. I'm like, oh, here we go. Tony's giving us a signal. He's giving us a sign. So plus 1,000, a half unit flyer. I wouldn't recommend loading up on this, but if you want to have some action, there's some action for the Ferguson Chandler fight. The next slide is going to be all Melissa Gatto by submission. I'll be interested to see if these changed a little bit or what they opened up at. Plus 800, plus 1150, and then 1500. That's how I see her path to victory. Obviously, she could get on top. TKO. Her last was kind of a weird TKO KO situation, but she is known as a submission threat, either on top or off her back as well. Arm bars, triangles, all sorts of stuff. I'm very confident in Melissa Gatto. Lock of the week. I have the 3 units on her to win, so I put a full unit. They didn't have it on Bet Online is where I placed most of my bets. They didn't have just a straight like wins by submission available yet, so I played it by round, a unit on each. So if she wins by submission, we're getting some good return on our money. Then I have a parlay here. These you can see the odds if you were playing the money line bet for all three of these. I stacked them all up for 165. These are kind of my favorites that I feel most comfortable with. If you are looking for like locks that aren't an underdog, these are what I feel like is the locks of the card. Norma Damont, Brandon Royval, and Cladeson Rodriguez. So I stacked those up, plus 165. Put 2 units on it. And we'll see how it plays out. I'm looking to get my revenge on the pay-per-view cards because I got absolutely destroyed on 273. So we're going to crawl back. We're going to look good this one. And we're going to make some live bets as well. Pre-fight bets. So follow me on Twitter.
Yeah, and I was going to say, when Jacob says live bets, they're typically while he's watching the fight or right before a fight starts, he just throws random bets out there. Not truly like live.
Not like in between rounds. It's literally the next
the
fight's coming up, and I'll look for a bet inside that fight. And literally, I mean, I've been winning like 10 units a week on those bets alone. So if you guys are watching our Friday slides, it's like, oh, this guy doesn't know what he's doing. I do lose those bets every once in a while because those are usually like wild bets. And then like as the fights start stacking up, it's like, okay, let me take this minus 250. Let me take this minus 150. And it's a little bit more conservative. So I've been hitting those pretty well.
Yeah, so follow Jacob on Twitter. His handle is under his face. And if you want 50 free bucks, don't forget, weonpicks.com/bets. Sign up with any partner, make a deposit. We send you 50 bucks. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo. Jacob's got a cool new poster.
Yeah.
And we'll see you guys on Saturday.